I go to Alaska for a few days and LA falls apart. I can't leave you people alone for anything. Good morning. Welcome. It's Tuesday, and when I say it's good to be back, I never say it as a token. I never say it just flippantly and don't mean it. But I will say I really mean it extra today, and it is good to be back. Yesterday, I woke up, and you will probably not know where this is. I woke up at a place called Dees Lake, and I sort of. The days all run together. And so I woke up, I drove for a long time. I slept for a couple hours in Jasper National Park, and I was delayed by the fires. I would have been home easily Saturday night, maybe Sunday morning, but the fires got me stalled in I don't know if it was Yukon or British Columbia, but I got stalled up there and I had to backtrack. And that's what put me back. But I had a lot of road time. And I started early Thursday morning and got home last night about 7:30. And it was such a good feeling to cross back over the border. And by the way, had virtually no problems at the border. It was a big question mark because I had heard these horror stories. And every single border encounter that I had, and I had 4, 2 on the way up to Alaska, 2 on the way back. And every single one of them lasted anywhere from 1 minute to 3 minutes. I was through, showed him my passport, and I had to have some documentation on the way back because I was not driving my car. I was driving a friend's car. And everything was great. Do you have any drugs? No. Do you have any ammunition or firearms? No. What'd you buy in Canada? Snacks at a Walmart. And by the way, ketchup chips. First time. I don't know if you have ever had ketchup chips, and they're okay. I don't know if they're going to be my go-to from now on, but I didn't mind the ketchup chips. They were all right. So I had that. There was one other thing. Oh yeah, the Nestle Aero chocolate bars are a unique experience too. So if you get into Canada, try the ketchup chips and the Aero Nestle chocolate bars, and you'll have your culinary Canada experience. But I just wanted to say, I'm not going to give you the line-by-line itinerary. It was a beautiful trip. The scenery is absolutely stunning. I developed some opinions about how governments handle things as I was driving through 2 Canadian provinces, 1 territory, and it is good to be in the United States of America. It's good to be back home. Someone said I just look trustworthy. That's my superpower. I'm really a scam artist, but I try to look trustworthy. At any rate, would I do it again? Not anytime soon. And don't get me wrong, it was great. It was fine, but it was very, very long. And you would drive for hours and hours. And you know how, let's say, what would be a long drive? What would you consider a long drive? For me, it starts to be a long drive anywhere beyond Salt Lake. Like if I'm driving to Utah, if I have to go to Provo or beyond, that starts to feel like a long drive to me. The rest, pretty manageable, not a problem. Imagine driving to south of Provo and back twice. That's what a day of driving through Canada is like. And then you look on the map and you realize, I've only gone that far. Look at the size of Idaho and then superimpose that multiple times on your way up to Alaska. And then you get an understanding of how vast and large this continent is. And I love it. I love God's green earth and his creation. And I saw some amazing creation on this trip. But it was good. So someone said, why did you drive instead of fly? because I have a very good friend who I've been friends with for a very long time. He has lived in Alaska for the past 5 years. He's moving back home. And I always said, hey, if you ever want help moving back, that's a bucket list item for me to make that drive. So he and I drove up in a pickup truck that he bought here and a box trailer. And we drove up. I stayed at his home a couple of days outside of Anchorage. And then I drove one of his cars back because he needed to get a car back. And so that's why I drove both directions. With the backtracking, with a quick trip to Utah for a wedding the couple of days before, over the span of 2 weeks, I exceeded 7,000 miles. And I don't say that in any braggadocious way. I say that in case I have a mental break during the show today. It's been a lot of road time, and my ankles are swollen a little bit because of all the road time. But someone said, very cool, that would be a beautiful drive, and it truly was. So I'm back, though, and the world kind of, I say it's falling apart. LA's falling apart. You have the protests that are happening, and I paid here and there kinds of attention to the news cycle. And I kind of wanted the reprieve from the heaviness of the day. This job gets a little heavy after a while. So I was meting out the amount of information that I was taking in. And again, we're seeing evidence that there's some level of organization behind this. These don't necessarily appear to be just organic protests out of anger because Trump, orange man bad, but rather there are masks that are being handed out. You don't have thugs that are ordering masks in cases and boxes, handing them out to people. Okay, that takes some funding, and it takes some organization, so we're seeing some of that. So we have that. There's also, and you've probably seen this video, you've probably seen the guy throwing the rocks and hitting the oncoming police vehicles. Yeah, that's a crime. That's a crime. For throwing, no, I was going to make a joke about the View, but no, that is a crime. They've identified him. I don't know that they've apprehended him. So, and by the way, Donald Trump deploying the American military to address the issue of what's happening in L.A., and they're acting like this is tyranny. He's bringing law and order. They've attacked a federal facility, and there's a level of defense of the facility. So you have that, and the Marines are not going to mess around. They really aren't. We also had a feud between Riley Gaines and Simone Biles. This one puzzles me a little bit because, and maybe this is career advice, but if you have attained the status as part of your brand, America's sweetheart, keep it. Don't mess it up. Don't jeopardize that, because if you are a household name, that is gold. That is money in the bank. It is financial security, but it's also reputational security as well. And the quickest way that you can lose the title of America's sweetheart, and I know that you're probably thinking, oh, that's loaded language, whatever, you care, sexist, gender language, whatever, I don't really care what your issue is, but everybody loved Simone Biles. Like I know she had kind of the mental break in Olympics or two ago, but she had a lot of sympathy through that, and I don't believe she just was one of those she was one of those celebrities that was generally very well liked. Why would you take that and just surrender that reputation on the altar of transgenderism? What is wrong with people that think like this? So Simone Biles goes after Riley Gaines, and Riley Gaines doesn't take guff from anyone. She dishes it right back. It's what has made her a competitor. And Simone Biles, what gets to these people? I genuinely mean this. This is an issue that is an 80-20 issue for the American people. 80% of the country-ish, 80% of the country does not think that it's okay to put boys on the court and have them play and compete against girls. Okay? Probably because it's not okay to put boys on the court and have them compete against girls. No matter what you call them, no matter what they think they are, no matter what, it's not okay to do that, especially in sports where physical prowess is, which is most sports, by the way, not all, but most. And yet you have these hangers on, these people that really are truly willing to offer up their reputations and their future at the altar of this issue. How did this cult form? How did this religion get started? And you wonder, how has this broken so many people? So Stephen A. Smith, who, as we know, has some presidential aspirations and has been more vocal on a whole host of issues, he shared his thoughts on the Simone Biles attack on Riley Gaines. He expressed he largely agreed with Riley Gaines' stance that women's sports should be exclusive to females, but he took issue with a comment she made in her response to the legendary Olympian. Biles very randomly and personally attacked Gaines, and by the way, this is Outkick, on June 6th when she posted a response on X calling the Outkick host truly sick, while claiming she should be uplifting the trans community before telling Gaines she should bully someone your own size, which Biles then wrote would ironically be a male. Okay, now, I don't know quite why she said this. Riley Gaines is 5'5", which might be slightly above average, slightly taller than average for adult women, but not much. I don't. If I go to the grocery store and I see a woman who's 5'5", I don't go, wow, look how tall she is. Now, when they get up to 5'11" or 6 feet, then it's like, okay, that's tall. But she's 5'5". You wouldn't think that. It was in response to Gaines pointing out the ridiculousness of a Minnesota high school softball team winning a state championship last week. But they were led by a pitcher who is a biological male. Smith shared his reaction to the back and forth between Gaines and Biles during a segment on Monday's Stephen A. Smith show, claiming that Gaines went too far when she brought convicted sex offender Larry Nassar into the discussion. He presented and quoted Gaines' post about Nassar while responding to the situation. And Riley put this in a picture next to Simone Biles. All the horrific sexual abuse Simone Biles witnessed and spoke out against caused by one man, yet believes women should be forced to strip naked in front of men to validate the man's feelings. You know how many gold medals you'd have if your inclusive dream came true? 0. And then Stephen A. Smith said, respectfully, Gaines, I was with you until that last quote. Respectfully, that's going a bit too far. Talking about transgender women in sports is one issue. Using a guy like Larry Nassar, one of the most despicable human beings we've ever witnessed on this earth, who molested and abused numerous women, numerous gymnasts, including Biles, to go that low, Gaines, you lost all credibility. Smith failed to mention or present the post that Gaines shared on X, which she clarified her comments and made it clear that Nassar deserves to spend the rest of his miserable life in prison. So, okay, so this kind of non-sequitur thing came along with the Larry Nassar. Whatever. Maybe not the best analogy, but I don't think you dismiss every point now that Riley Gaines has made when it comes to this issue. It's an 80-20 issue. We're winning, by the way. I don't know if you know this, and we need to keep winning. So I'm noticing the left is kind of getting more organized. They're trying to relive the summer of 2020, it looks like, when, of course, that was the year that the streets were burning, and you had, well, we've had several summers like that in recent years. But they're trying to make it happen again. And I would just say this, and I really worked hard to not immerse myself in all of the crazy while I was away last week. But now that I'm back and I'm getting caught up on what's happening in Los Angeles and the riots are going on again, I am reminded of how dangerous the left is and how what they resort to, when they are no longer in power. This is our opportunity as conservatives, and I'll be even political partisan here. This is our opportunity as Republicans. Roll the tape, capture the video, and get all the audio that you can right now of Democrats softening their stance, being apologetic for what's happening in L.A. We will win, and we will continue to win. It's 8:24. It's good to be back. We'll take a break and come back just minutes away on this Tuesday on News Talk 107.9. It's 8:26 on News Talk 107.9. 208-542-1079 is the El Numero to call if you'd like to reach us, which is Canadian for number.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Wait, that might be Spanish.
You got the wrong border.
I know I do, but either way.
Do they have in Canada, do they have Taco Bells? You had a McDonald's clearly because that's where you ate your gravy fries.
Oh, yeah. Poutine.
Poutine. Not my favorite word. But were there other fast food restaurants anywhere in these bigger cities like Taco Bell?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in fact, but there aren't very many of those cities along the way. Mm-hmm. You get north of Calgary, Edmonton. You know what it's like? If you've never driven that road and you want a comparison that you would be familiar with, it would be like driving through Island Park, but it's 1,500 miles long. That's what it feels like.
So just little teeny stores or...
A little cafe here and a little gas station there. Okay. One other thing, little tidbits about the Yukon Territory you didn't ask for.
This is Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yes. The gas pumps are from 1987.
Old school.
Very, very few of them actually have credit card machines. You go in and you pay first, and then you go out and pump, which there's plenty of gas along the way. But if you're driving in the middle of the night, gas availability may be an issue, especially through the Yukon Territory and the upper regions of British Columbia. But just because of that reason, they just haven't updated the gas pumps. I was a little surprised by that. So
Princess Pants Julie is envisioning -degree weather and you having to walk in, pay for gas, walk back out.
Yeah, right. I know. I did find, in fact, the place where I got stranded, and I was shocked by this. I thought there's no way any of these places exist anymore. It was pump first and then go in and pay for it.
They trusted you.
Yeah, they did, which I thought, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now I know where to steal gas if I'm trying to get across Canada. Just kidding. But no, I thought, wow, I remember growing up.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you did. You just gassed
your teen
up.
Years, yeah.
Then you went in and paid, and that was very, very normal. I don't know if there's any places now where you do that. So
one time I was with two of my friends, and we were putting gas in her mom's car. And I was supposed to be watching the gas gauge fill up, so I knew when to say stop.
Yeah.
But me and the other friends started joking around, and I didn't watch.
Oh, no.
And then we had to pull together our money to pay for the gas because we had gone too far.
You did too much. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, that's funny. Yeah. They do drive on the right side of the road in Canada, so that's good.
Good.
Yeah. So,
can I add to your Simone Biles? Just because,
yeah,
I covered this pretty extensively with Barbie Hart yesterday. Mm-hmm. But JK Rowling put out a tweet, and I'm not going to know it verbatim, but basically what she was saying is Simone Biles and Megan Rapinoe climbed the ladder of success and then kicked that ladder out of the way.
Yeah.
And with Simone Biles' comments, with Rapinoe's comments, you don't want any other women to succeed, but you got yours.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. The bulk of their careers, they haven't had to compete against men.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an astute point.
Kind of makes it even more of a trash point by Simone Biles.
Well, yeah, and I will say this, and this is one of the reasons why I like JK Rowling. She's far more powerful than anybody on the right talking about this issue. Because she's one of them on a whole host of issues. And I think you don't find that but very often. But she has the courage to be very, very strong in a very stiff wind. So
yeah,
it's nice. Yeah, that's true. Like, where can I ask this question too? And during the monologue, I asked the question: how did this cult get started? Like, where does this religion come from? And how did someone rope Simone Biles into this? Like, she's in a sport where she would stand no chance if she had to compete against men.
Well, okay, I have lots of answers for that. One of the potential answers is what I just said with the JK Rowling tweet. Maybe she doesn't want anyone to ever be as good as her.
You reach the peak, and then now... Because if transgenders break those records internally, there's an asterisk that says, yeah, but they're transgender. That's a dude that got that
100% there's internally an asterisk, even if they won't say it outward.
Yeah, right. Even if they outlaw the external asterisk, there's always going to be an internal asterisk, which is a really, really cumbersome word to try and say.
Worse than poutine.
Poutine. Poutine was okay, but poutine would not be part of my routine.
I think you didn't get good ones. I think that's the problem.
Oh, no, I got McDonald's for poutine.
No, that doesn't work.
Yeah, okay, but I got the gist of it.
No, because they make it with like really crispy, like it's not always fries. Sometimes they're very crunchy potatoes, and I think drenched in gravy, that would make a big difference. You got McDonald's fries that got soggy, and
when did you have poutine?
I've never had it, but I've watched like things on it, like cooking shows and everything. They make it differently than what you get at McDonald's.
Well, yeah, that's.
It was a version.
It was,
and it's fine.
Yes, it was. Okay, if there was a homemade version of poutine, I'd give it a shot. But I was probably 5 or 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, and don't get me wrong, there are things on the McDonald's menu that I really do like.
Yeah. What's funny is that me and my friends, I'm bringing up all my friends. You're making me regurgitate memories, but we had a JB's in town.
Oh, yeah. JB's Big Boy.
And that was the place that was open late. There wasn't any other place to go get food. And me and my friends would go order a plate of fries and a side of gravy, and we dip.
Okay.
So we were just missing the cheese curds.
Yeah, you were 2/3 of the way to poutine anyway.
Yeah.
Which is just pootie.
Ootine.
Ootine. It was ootine. I need to look up the origin of that word.
I don't know. They could have chosen a better word.
Yes, they could have. That's what I'm like. Okay, we're going to invent a food. And the first syllable is going to be poo. Like, I'm like, maybe work on it a little bit.
How about just fries and gravy and cheese?
Right. That'd be all right. Like in gravy fries.
Yeah.
Like back east, when you go to Philly and you get a cheese steak, there'll be like, do you want some cheese fries? And which is pretty good. And it is very descriptive.
Yeah, you know what you're getting.
Yeah, but okay, if you didn't know what
poutine is?
Yeah, like if I had it hidden in a box and you had no idea what it was, and I said, okay, there's food in here, it's called poutine, and you don't know what it is. Will you eat it?
It wasn't a marketing genius move.
No, it was not. Not at all. Do we have people? Do we have poutine defenders in the text line?
Canadians who are like, no.
Yeah. I am not putting that in my mouth. That's funny. I would say try it. It's part of the Canadian experience. So, someone said one of the local restaurants, Mackenzie River, used to have poutine. So maybe you can find it in select places. Here's what I want to know. Does anybody around here sell ketchup chips?
I think so. I think you can find them every once in a while.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Who was telling me? Michael Coates, I think, was the one who said you can get them somewhere. I just don't remember where.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I looked for? Because I have a very fond memory from about 20 years ago. Walmart, for a short time, under their own store brand, sold, they were called beer cheese crackers. You remember this about me.
I got you some, and they were
not the same.
sadly disappointing.
And it was sad because you did pay a chunk of money for those. I thought, well, maybe beer cheese crackers are in Canada because I've seen the Mackenzie brothers. They like their beer up there.
And they like their cheese.
That's true. And so, but no luck. I couldn't find it. So.
Yeah. Somebody said Albertsons had them.
Okay. All right. I didn't even know. So I did try them. I didn't hate them. They were all right. I'd have them again. Okay. We'll be back. It's 8:37.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, it's Brad from Now 105.1 and QP99. I'm in the studio here. I love our studios, by the way. Ranger Rick back there. There's Neal and Julie doing their thing. Hey, when you want to advertise on the radio, what do? You call the radio station, right? But what do you do when you want to advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Hulu and Disney Plus and Peacock and the other TV streaming services? You can kind of click around on them and make guesses or read books or take courses online on how to do that advertising. Or you could call us at the radio station. At Sandhill Media, we take care of your local radio and digital marketing. So reach out to us at sandhillmediagroup.com and we'll make sure that your message gets heard and seen wherever your customers are.
All right, 8:42 on News Talk 107.9, Neil Larson and Julie Mason. So, Julie, not that I want to bring attention to these stupid rallies that are coming up. Can I say it like that?
Sure.
Is that okay?
I just said to you, I don't understand. We have very few weekends in Idaho that are stunningly beautiful like we get.
Yeah.
And you want to stand on a corner and have people flip you off and hold a sign. I don't understand.
Yeah. So they're going to have a protest on President Trump's birthday. And they're called No Kings. And there will be 14 of them held across Idaho on Saturday, which means if you divide up the number of Democrats, 14, there's going to be about 7 people at each rally.
At each rally.
Yeah.
Is the 14th really President Trump's birthday?
Is it the 14th? Is that the day June 14th?
Isn't that also Flag Day?
Yeah. Military parade will be the last day of a week-long celebration of the U.S. Army's 250th birthday on June 14th, which coincides with the birthday of President Trump. So,
okay. I think it is Flag Day also.
Can you believe that his parents
How dare they?
Had a baby on the birthday of the Army?
How dare they?
They should have been more considerate than that.
I know.
Thinking he may grow up and be the president of the United States someday. I guess the point that I would make here, I'm sorry I called your rally stupid if you're listening and you're doing one of these. And I will defend your right to have a stupid rally, okay, to the end. That was a laugh line, but okay.
I'm like, we'll go right ahead. I'm not jumping in.
I know, yeah. So when I look at this, I'm thinking societies that actually have kings don't allow no kings rallies to happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the irony.
So the fact that you're holding the rally is proof you don't need the rally.
Right.
So, I don't know. It's like, I guess it's I don't know. I don't have a word for it. It's an interesting thing that they're doing. I think people look at Trump and go, yeah, he's moving forward, but he's not acting like a king. He's just acting like a president of the United States that loves his country.
And my next question to these people is exactly what doesn't outrage you? Because you have outrage over everything.
Yeah.
That's your personality, a personality of outrage, which, by the way, nobody likes. If you look around, the only friends you have are the other ones with personalities of outrage.
That's true.
That's your little group. Nobody else likes you.
Yeah. And there are times to be outraged.
Mm-hmm.
Perpetually is not one of those times.
No.
It's true. And I think they're just frustrated. If I were to look at the behavior of the EPA, our environmental agencies, and a whole host of other, the CDC, a whole host of others, and be on the lookout, surveilling for king-like behavior. Most definitely that happens during Democrat administrations, far more than during Republican administrations. Waters of the U.S. is a good example. We saw what happened during the pandemic with little Fauci and his and I'm growing impatient with you when Biden said that. That was way more king-like than anything Trump's doing.
I'm going to give you a data point that backs up what you're saying, which is while you were gone, there were job growth numbers released. Mm-hmm. And we had a ton of jobs created in whatever there is, it a quarter, month? I don't know what they were tracking. However, there's a very important part of that. 98% of them were in the private sector. That means there's no kings happening.
Right.
There was job growth numbers under Biden. 1 in 4 jobs were government jobs.
Yeah.
Job growth numbers under Trump, the most recent?
1 out of 50.
Yeah, 98%.
Yeah, right.
That means there's not a king in charge because the private sector is flourishing. It's blooming.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. And but you know what? When have these people been rooted in reality?
There isn't. That's my point. I'm saying nobody likes you. That's because you have to hang out with people who aren't rooted in reality. You have to have this culture of outrage, and that's the only people that can back up or help you or validate your feelings because you're not rooted in reality.
So it would be fun. I will say I'm probably not going to do it because I'll have better things to do, but it would be fun to show up one of these rallies, talk to all 7 of them, and ask them the question, what is a woman? Mm-hmm. Speaking of rooted in reality. And I will bet you on issue after issue, they are not. And they would struggle to be able to tell you with definition what things are or aren't. They sort of live in this ethereal world.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Yeah. I'm not going. That's it. I'm not going.
Part of me, and where is it? 14 locations?
14 locations across Idaho. There is one in Pocatello. Nampa has one.
Yeah. So, you know what? We'll even give it free attention here. Mm-hmm. In Idaho Falls, June 14th, which is, what day is that? Saturday. The Broadway Bridge, 4 p.m.
Oh, so the regular location.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, again, I'm going to say, you're exactly right with only 7 people showing up because the Broadway Bridge is not that long.
No,
and they're not. They can spread out. So that's how many people actually show up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In Pocatello, Caldwell Park at 11. Oh, you know what? They're doing Pocatello's at 11:30 a.m. so they can protest, get in their Prius, and then drive to Idaho Falls and attend the
Broadway
Bridge one. Is there one in Rexburg? No, there's not one in Rexburg.
Okay.
So
there's your 2 chances in eastern Idaho.
Yeah. I kind of want to.
You go. I'm not.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely not.
You're getting ready for your trip, but no. I mean, I'm probably not going to, but it would be kind of fun. Just saying. All right, we'll be back. It's 8:50 on News Talk 1079. All right, it's 8:53 on News Talk 107.9. Neil Larson along with Julie Mason. You are all, every last one of you are cordially invited. If you're hearing this, consider this your gold, what's that word?
The golden ticket.
No, gold-plated, not gold-plated, but it's the
Embossed?
Gold, yes, gold embossed invitation to our open house coming up on Friday. It was actually day before yesterday that marked the 5th anniversary of the launch of News Talk 107.9. Now, part of me feels sort of like I did when we had a 5-year class reunion.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought was, is it a little early to have a class reunion? And the 6 of us that were there didn't think so, out of the 44 of us.
That's not that bad of odds.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't bad. And so you might think, well, 5 years isn't that long. However, I thought through, because I was thinking about over the last 5 years, of course, Julie, you and I left a job. We came over here, launched News Talk 107.9. We've had now 2 presidential elections. We've had, I think, 5 legislative sessions that we have been through. We have interviewed countless candidates. We have had the second half, actually most of the pandemic that we've been through together. We have been through riots. We have been through rallies. We've been through a lot. When you stop and you think about the shared experience that we've had with our audience, it's been true 5 years, which doesn't seem like that terribly long of a time, but there's been a lot packed into that 5 years. Mm-hmm. And so as we were approaching it, I thought, are we going to do anything? And I felt like we want to mark the occasion. We're not having, 3 weeks of celebration and parades, but we are going to have an open house. And you're all invited to swing by our studios between 11 and 1 on Lindsay Boulevard in Idaho Falls. I said 854 Lindsay Boulevard, and Julie said it better when she said, we're just across the street from Jakers. So
yeah. You don't even have to put it in your GPS.
No, yeah, you don't. Just drive, show up, and we'll have some light food here and refreshments, and we want you to come back and take a little tour of the studio where we work in our newly renovated state-of-the-art studios here at Sandhill Media. And if you're willing, no pressure at all, but if you're willing, we'd love to record your greeting. So we have that to play back and to just record and capture the moment. So we'd love for you to join us this Friday between 11 and 1.
There you go. It's going to be a party.
It is going to be a party.
In fact, while Neil and I were talking about it, I kept referring to it as a party, and he kept correcting me and going, the open house? And I'm like, no, it's a party.
Okay.
We're having a party.
Yeah. Raise the roof. Whatever.
Neil will be dancing.
All right. Okay, no, we want people to come. All right. That was supposed to be a surprise, Julie.
The hula.
We want the audience captive before we say that. So
coconut shells and everything.
We have to. Okay, then it's getting really weird now. Anyway, we'll see you this Friday. So, and then once you're done with that, you get in your car and you go down to Town and Country Gardens. And you get all the things that you need for your lawn and garden.
There you go. And everything to adorn both inside and outside your house, because they have such a massive house plant. They have 2 rooms. They have one room called the Jungle Room. It is so cool.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, so don't skip past that. If you're going to get some seeds for your garden or fertilizer or, bark or something like that, make sure you take a little peek into the Jungle Room, because it's really cool.
They had to kick me out because I was meditating there the other day.
He moved some plants around, sat right there on the table.
We're trying to close, Neil. It's time to go.
Get out of here.
Yeah. No, but you'll love it. They've got everything you need. And it really is, it's not just like a lawn and garden store where you walk in, you smell the fertilizer, whatever. I mean, they have gardens you can just walk through, and it's just very relaxing.
It's kind of an experience.
Yeah, really is. South of Idaho Falls, Yellowstone Highway, across from the Budweiser plant. So.
All right.
Okay, Julie, we have another hour ahead. We've talked about Simone Biles and the feud with Riley Gaines.
Mm-hmm.
We have talked about the riots in L.A., and you also had guests in while I was gone, and you had Kevin Cook and Barbie Hart in yesterday, which, by the way, thanks to them, they came in to pinch hit when it became clear I was not going to be making it back in time. So they talked about several issues, actually.
They did. We went over lots of legislative stuff with both Kevin Cook and Barbie Hart because she made a guest appearance twice. And there's some exciting things, some work on water that's happening, which needs to. They're trying to commission a study to rebuild the Teton Dam.
Okay.
So that's step one because you're going to have people freaking out. So that's good news.
Yeah. You know what? I'm all in favor of it. Do it right this time, but I'm all in favor of it.
Let's not have it burst.
All right, hour 2 coming up. Welcome back. It's hour 2. If you'd like to reach us on the program, 208-542-1079. It's Neal Larson along with Julie Mason. And I have a little assignment, Julie. I know we talked about this last hour. I would like everyone to put a little reminder in their phone for Friday at 10:45. Go see Neal and Julie at the open house. And then lunch hour will be approaching. You'll hop in your car. You'll drive to 854 Lindsay Boulevard across from Jakers on Lindsay Boulevard in Idaho Falls. And you'll come and hang out with us. You'll grab a few snacks. You'll chat with our staff here. You'll come back and very quickly, all right, we'll have about 5 seconds for each one of you.
More than that.
It'll be like a meet and greet with Taylor Swift, but you'll come back and we'll take a quick picture and then you can step back out of the studio. Not really, no. Come and hang out with us, record a greeting. Would love for you to be a part of our open house as we mark this week, 5 years of News Talk 107.9 being in existence. It's ready for kindergarten.
I was thinking about the open house, and I'm really proud of us because I was like, okay, what do I need to do to get the studio ready for this? It's close. It's going to take me about 45 seconds. We keep a really clean studio, so congratulations to us.
That's true. I work really hard to keep you tidy, and it's nice that we can keep. What are you laughing at?
You have totally reformed me. I'm so grateful to have you in my life.
It's true. Yeah, you're right. Well, thank you for recognizing that. I appreciate that. No, but you're right. We do keep a pretty tidy studio. We might get rid of the ferret that's over in the corner, but you know. We don't have a ferret. I don't know. I just thought what would be weird to have in the corner. A ferret would be weird to have in the corner.
It would be.
Yeah. Okay, so can I revisit the Terry Moran thing? I wanted to see if there was an update on that. We talked about this while I was traveling. And now even people inside ABC News are saying this was a stupid thing for him to do. Mm-hmm. And over the weekend, he went on an ex-post tirade. A lot of people are speculating he might have had a little too much to drink or something. And because he spoke in ways that true journalists never would or should. And I ended up deleting the tweet. But you know, Julie, if you went to Disneyland and you were walking around and you see Mickey Mouse, and Mickey Mouse takes off his helmet, his head?
His mascot head.
Yeah, his mascot head. And you saw that it was a 38-year-old dude with a beard, okay? That Mickey Mouse would get fired because he revealed who he was. If you work at Disneyland, in fact, I remember I was a mascot in high school. For 1 year I wore the tiger suit. And we had this policy during the game, you did not take the tiger head off because you're there mostly for the little kids.
You're in character.
You're in character. And it's fun. Well, Terry Moran took the Mickey Mouse head off. Like, he showed us who he really was with that which is, okay, I know I put this suit on. I know I've got the earpiece in when I'm on TV. And I'm here holding the earpiece in. And I am Joe Journalist here. And well, you gotta stay in character, Terry. You can't get on X on a Saturday night after you've had 3, bottles of Jack and go off on Donald Trump.
3 bottles of Jack, man, he would be out.
I don't know. I think I might have been subconsciously referencing a Kesha song or something. So
the whole thing was a little weird. I would like to offer him a ton of grace that was what it had actually happened, is that he had a little too much to drink. But it's a really well-written tweet.
Yeah.
He just makes those couple of mistakes in the last sentence. So I'm not sure if it was as much that as I have finally just let my anger about Trump eat me up so much.
Yeah.
Here I am. And look, he also goes against or after Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller is pesky. Stephen Miller is annoying. Guess what? He's doing a great job.
That's why he was hired.
Yes. So I'm sorry he's better than you, Terry Moran.
If you go back, and we're not going to do this, every administration has their pit bulls. You had in the Clinton orbit, you had James Carville. He was their pit bull. Mm-hmm. And you could in fact, I would say every pretty good political organization, even down to the local level, has a pit bull that'll go out there and just say the tough things and raise issues that need to be raised, but they let the boss keep their hands clean. Now, Trump doesn't keep his hands clean, but you know what I'm saying in this case. Stephen Miller is one of those pit bulls for Trump. Mm-hmm. And that's just who he is.
And why does that get you so ruffled?
Yeah.
You're not new to the scene. You should have grown some tough skin about all of this.
Tough skin's a good word for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway... So I have a little bit of a theory about it, though, and we talked about it a little bit when I was on the road, but Donald Trump told Terry Moran during the interview, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you. But that's okay. I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. And I wonder if Trump essentially calling Terry Moran a nobody. Like, I've never even heard it. I wonder if that ate at his ego. And it's just been just simmering there for a while. And he got mad, and you combined that with 3 bottles of Jack. And that came out. And
after you woke up from being passed out, you decided to put an X post out there.
Right, yes. And I think that, and now look, we'll say that's speculative. We don't know this for sure. Yeah. He might have just gotten mad. He might have just broke. Finally snapped. That's a possibility. But when you have people inside the industry working for your own organization that are now talking to the media, and they are talking to Fox News, and they said, you tweeted something, you basically heard all of us, we don't need this manure. Mm-hmm. It sucks. It really sucks. That's what they said. So this is part, I think, of ABC News damage control, sending some nameless people out there, but it's still speaking, saying we've got to distance ourselves from what Terry Moran is saying, because the trust that the American public has in the media right now is at a record low, and things like this do not help.
It's not going to help, and it is at a record low. Those are not our words; those are statistics that are out there. I think it's something like 70% of both Democrats and Republicans don't trust the media. I'm pretty sure that was the most recent poll. You can't be doing stuff like this.
No.
If just say you're a restaurant and they grabbed 1,000 people at a big box store on a Saturday and said, "Hey, tell us what you think about this local restaurant." If 7 out of 10 people said the restaurant is horrible, you're out of business.
Yeah, right.
That's the way they need to be looking at this.
And Julie, I would say it's even worse than that, because journalism is an industry built on trust. Mm-hmm. It exists, and that number should be high because their job is for it to be high, that we trust them to tell us the truth. Yeah. And they're just failing left and right. Yeah.
And as we mentioned when you and I were talking about it while you were in Canada, they're running out of people. I know everyone thinks that journalists are a dime a dozen. There's a lot of people going through college for that and everything. That doesn't mean there's a lot of people good at it.
Or I think another possibility is the true journalists aren't welcome anymore in the media. Like if you show up, you tell the truth about Donald Trump, what you're going to get is that he's not the villain that they've been crafting the narrative around. True journalists, if they're being journalists, actually don't care about narratives. And if you don't care about the narrative, you're probably not welcome in that newsroom. You're not welcome in that organization because they need to have everybody on board holding up the narrative. That's how you keep your job in an environment like that. To the point where I believed this during CNN. There were people who, if these individual journalists were left to their own reporting without fear, without consequence, we probably would have a better journalistic organization. But they knew what the bosses expected. And for them to keep their nice 6-figure salaries and to keep them happy, their reporting had to have this anti-Trump strain to it. So it may not be quite as bad as we think, because I think a lot of times it's the leadership in an organization that has expectations about how things get reported. But once you land a gig like that, you're going to do everything you can to keep it. And
it took till Sunday for CNN to come out and say that these riots in LA were not peaceful.
Yeah.
I mean, they held the narrative for 2 days.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday. They started wavering a little bit Saturday night. Sunday is when the morning news programs had to go, okay, it's not peaceful. They're throwing rocks and bricks at these police officers on the overpass, and they're having to hide under the overpass. They're burning cars. They ordered these driverless cars to show up to be burned.
Yeah.
That was their intent. That is not a peaceful protest.
No.
But it took them, they had to abandon the agenda at some point. And it's disappointing that they couldn't be actually reporting it on Saturday. Friday, I'll give them Friday. It was still kind of ramping up. They were a little unsure what was going on. But as of Saturday, just tell the facts. Be a journalist.
Yeah.
Don't try to cover. Don't say peaceful protests. I mean, what an embarrassing thing to trot back out there after 2020.
Well, it is, because that term "mostly peaceful" just became a laughing stock joke. Like that became the new word for violent. Mm-hmm. And remember all the memes that were coming out?
That's what I mean. It was embarrassing that they recirculated that.
In the Middle East, there's a mostly peaceful jihad.
Yeah.
You know, like it's like, what?
It's a mostly peaceful child molester. Like,
yeah,
what?
Right.
There is no peace to burning cars.
No, there isn't.
And the local, I can't remember which affiliate it was, if it was ABC, NBC, but in LA, the local affiliate, they actually had a reporter saying, well, it's kind of like a party atmosphere. They're burning the cars and they're enjoying it. What?
That's property destruction.
That is not a party atmosphere.
It's okay if they enjoy their violence?
Yes, I guess.
That's weird. Mm-hmm. It's okay. I beat up a kid, but I liked it.
It was fun. Did you see how we were all laughing during it? It was a good time.
You know what? It reminds me, Julie, can you imagine, let's say I started a news organization and I had headlines like, hey, a car drove successfully from Pocatello to Idaho Falls. Hey, another car drove successfully from Pocatello to Idaho Falls. Hey, another car... Nobody cares that anything's a mostly peaceful anything. Mm-hmm. We report the anomalies, so when a car crashes, that's what gets reported.
Right.
But the journalists are changing the rules now, where if you show up, they're saying, well, ignore the burning cars, ignore the broken windows, ignore the masked guys throwing rocks at the cops.
Ignore the looting.
Pay attention to the people over there that are just holding signs. It's a mostly peaceful protest, because you do have some people that aren't committing violence.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
If you'd like to join us on this mostly peaceful radio show, 208-542-1079 is the number to call. So... All right, let's take a break. We can do that. We'll come back and continue after this on this Tuesday. Hello, Facebook Live. It is good to be back from Canada.
We're back. Thank you for enduring the
Facebook
drought.
Live drought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There was a time where I thought, okay, I could start Facebook Live, and then the computer updated, and some of you very hardcore listeners might remember the day that everything was like things were firing and I wasn't touching the board. Like that was going on. I think that was Wednesday. Well, during all of that, we lost a portion of the computer program that tells us how much time we have left in the hour. So I was having to calculate it. What does that look on your face?
Look at this.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Mine doesn't look like that. Let me refresh.
Wow. Oh, I should have. Whoa.
Mine does not look.
We got a problem because I think I'll.
Why does yours look like that? Mine, I just refreshed. Now I just saw you move them.
Okay, but did you scroll down on the playlist?
Oh, okay.
Do you see it now?
Anyway, see, so what happened is our computer system had a massive, like every computer that is linked to the clocks, all of those systems updated in Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, which means we've had all of these little hiccups and bugs in the system since then. And one of them on that day was it was just firing. Eventually, we got back to a normal place, but things still aren't completely normal. One of them being there's no back timing. I had no idea how much was left in the hour. So I was having to manually do like mathematically in my head, and me running Facebook Live and mathematically doing that was not going to happen.
I'm listening, but I'm working.
Yeah, keep moving him.
I thought it was a light morning, but all these got put.
Which is weird because I remember how I told you we'd been so full.
Uh-huh.
So Neal and I are together for these 4 days, but I leave for Nashville on early Sunday morning. I catch a flight out of the Idaho Falls Airport. So Neal will be alone the following week, and I'll be with my girlfriends from high school in Nashville. We'll be having our own little party, and then we will be back together. I should be back by Friday, like barring some issue with flights or whatever. I will be back on air on Friday. So the 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th, Neal will be on his own.
Mm-hmm.
We will do less radio together in the month of June than we will do together.
I know. And then I think we're
it levels out.
There might be a weekend day here or there, but
yeah.
Okay, I think we're good.
Then you know when the next crazy time's going to be?
When?
Thanksgiving. Because I'll share with you guys. It's kind of on the down low. I have another grandchild coming. I won't tell you from you know who.
Okay.
She's just not announcing it.
Okay,
she's not announcing that she's having a baby. She just wants to keep it to herself. So, one of my girls are
That's good.
having another baby. So I will be gone helping for a little bit in November. So that'll be our next big break.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. What was that look?
No. It's me still mind numbed from all the road time.
It's another little boy. Apparently my children can't create anything but boys.
Yeah. That'll be fun though. Little cousins growing up and
Almost halfway too.
yeah.
Because time is going fast.
So I have 6 grandkids, 4 boys, 2 girls, and our first 3 were boys too. So you do wonder if there's like a genetic thing though, like there's just a predisposition.
Maybe.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. 9:27 on News Talk 1079. It's Neal Larson along with Julie Mason. And if you'd like to reach us on the program, 208-542-1079 is the number to call. And we're talking about several issues, whether it's the Terry Moran Trump thing. And so here's the thing. You know what's interesting about these lying media narratives? The narrative now is that Trump is calling for Gavin Newsom's arrest, when in reality, all of this started with Gavin Newsom daring Tom Homan to come arrest him. So it all started with Gavin Newsom, but yet I would bet you if you go to one of the 14 rallies this Saturday, the No Kings rallies, all of them would believe that Donald Trump wants to arrest Gavin Newsom and call for that. And they would reject the truth that it's actually Gavin Newsom who went on MSNBC and dared Tom Homan to arrest him.
There's an interesting side part of this. And so when I was prepping for the show, and I had the Gavin Newsom clip where he gave the interview to MSNBC and he's like he's being such an overactor in it. I did a search to see if Tom Homan had said, yes, I want to arrest Gavin Newsom. And I thought it was going to come out of the Fox interview that he had granted. And some of you might have seen the Fox interview. He looked like he was on a camping trip. He had a baseball cap on. Yeah. It wasn't in there. Yet NBC was reporting that he said it, and I couldn't find the audio. Well, I was running out of prep time, so we went with the story and everything. Since then, NBC has had to retract their story.
Okay.
Tom Homan never actually said he wanted to arrest Gavin Newsom. They took his words, implied the remark, printed it as if he had said it, and then we got Gavin Newsom saying what he said in MSNBC's interview.
So basically, they reversed engineered a narrative because Gavin Newsom dared Tom Homan to arrest him, that Tom Homan was the first to bring up, I will arrest you.
Absolutely. Yeah, which makes sense because I did a search. I even did it through AI. I was looking. I did a search on X. I'm like, this audio's got to be here somewhere. Yeah. I could never find it.
Okay. So there's no overt call by Donald Trump to arrest Gavin Newsom. Mm-hmm. Tom Homan never said, I want to arrest Gavin Newsom. But Gavin Newsom is taunting them, saying, come arrest me. Mm-hmm. My follow-up to Gavin Newsom would be, well, what crime have you committed that would warrant your arrest?
Yeah, what makes you edgy?
So, in other words, you get to be a martyr even though you face no risk of being arrested.
Yeah.
Brian Lovell, come arrest me. I dare you. Now, I don't know what crime I committed, but I dare you to come arrest me.
Yeah, all the Canadians are saying, you didn't like poutine.
That's a crime in Canada, to not like poutine. That's true. If you'd name it something else, I might like it better. 208-542-1079. Let's go to the phones. Hi, caller. How are you today?
How are you? First of all, I want to congratulate you two for your radio program and your new digs there at the studio.
Thank you. Thank you.
I
hope you'll stop by on Friday for the open house.
I will try. Now, I guess the question I have for you, are you going to have an all-you-can-drink pop machine? With just two flavors.
You know what?
Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb.
My answer to that is don't ask, don't tell.
That's pretty good. Well, I was going to suggest just two flavors, Dr. Pepper or Mr. Pibb, depending on how you feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
that's
we
good.
Wouldn't hate that.
No, we'd take that for sure.
And then just a real quick question for your traveling host there. What was the most unusual thing you found in Canada? And how do you feel that Canadians think of Americans because of the tariffs?
You know what? I feel like if there was any edge at all, it may have been when we crossed over into Alberta the first day, that she was a little short with us, but we had all of our stuff in order and we didn't have any problems at all. But maybe she's just like that. But
maybe she just doesn't like Americans.
Yeah, but in terms of running into Canadians and feeling like there was any kind of animosity, I actually did not sense that at all. And so which was good. I didn't know what to expect as we were traveling either through going or coming back. And there, when I got stranded up in Turtle River, there were some people guarding the road closed gate. So I thought, well, I am a broadcast professional. I'm not up here to report on the fires, but I'm going to pull that card. So I walked up to the road guards, and I just said, I was very upfront with them. I said, look, I'm not up here to cover the fires, But I do have broadcast equipment, and I am a broadcast professional. Could you make an exception for media to go through? Because I will cover the fires. I've got, I could take pictures. I could do some reports. And he looked at me, and he kind of laughed. And he had kind of that thicker British, it wasn't a British accent, but it was a Canadian accent. And he said, oh, absolutely nobody goes through these gates. And so it wouldn't have mattered if I was the Pope. Like, they weren't going to let me through. And so I thought, well, I tried. Julie suggested that I just go anyway. And I thought, that's what I need. An American here traveling through.
I can be the devil on your shoulder every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Yeah. But anyway, no, I didn't. I don't know if there was anything terribly weird. Let me.
The reality is you didn't have a lot of interaction.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot. It was mostly traveling in car time. If I had gone and stayed and interacted with the locals, I probably would have more to tell.
Okay. And then just one other real quick question, and I'll let you go. Did you have to exchange your dollars into Canadian money?
No, I do have a little story about that. So I needed a shower on the way back, but I was too late in approaching a little town called Dease Lake, which is this beautiful, beautiful lake in northern British Columbia. And I saw a campground, and it said, we have Wi-Fi and cabins available. And I thought, okay, I'll go in there. So I pulled in, and mostly I wanted the Wi-Fi because I was smack dab in the middle of a data black hole. Like, I had not messaged anybody or received a message for hours, and nor would I be because I had a long ways to go. So I thought, okay, at least I'll have Wi-Fi here, a place to stay, and I'll get a shower. Well, they didn't actually have a cabin. I haven't even told you this, Julie. They had like a little teardrop trailer thing, and I pull up, and of course I have an Alaska plate on my car, and the camp attendant or host, I think he was probably the owner, probably saw my Canada license plate, and his credit card reader suddenly stopped working.
Your Alaska license plate, and it suddenly stopped working.
Yeah, what did I say?
Canada. It's okay.
Canada, yeah. My Alaska plate and his credit card reader suddenly wouldn't work. He's like, but I could take cash. And I'm like, well, and I had a couple $100 in a wallet, and it was $100 to stay for the night. And I'm like, okay, it's worth it. I'll drop $100. I'll get a shower. I'll have a place to stay. And he said, okay, now Wi-Fi's $5. Like, okay, I'm getting nickeled and dimed here, but it's worth $5. So it was $105. And he told me, he said, now I can't give you change in American dollars. I'll have to give you change in Canadian dollars, which is worth less than the American dollar. So they will take your American money, but they will not convert it for you. They just keep your money, and because they know they can later convert it and actually make a significant amount on it. Like an American dollar is worth like $1.36 in Canadian. So it's a chunk. And he said, I can only give you Canadian change. Well, as he opened the envelope that had the change in it, there was clearly some American money in there because I only had a 10 and I gave him $110. He could have given me the $5 in American money back. I saw it in there, but he gave me a Canadian $5 bill. So yeah. I think they're kind of
they work the system a little. They work the system.
Yeah. They scam Americans a little bit when they can because it works in their favor. So I did have that experience. But
that doesn't. Go ahead.
I'm going to let you two go. You two have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So.
I would guess that this is a pretty standard thing in tourist towns. They're going to get their little bit wherever they can. And so I'm not that shocked by that they wouldn't, he wasn't willing to exchange your money.
Yeah, no, I'm not either. And I think it's, I had a similar currency exchange scam happen in Mexico. When I think I paid like $11 for a Diet Coke there or something. And I'm like, they're just working the Americans.
Yeah.
And they know we have cash on the ready there, and we don't know how many pesos but later I did the math, and I'm like, wait, I have way overpaid for this.
And it didn't even taste that good.
Yeah.
Because Mexican Coke doesn't taste as good.
Yeah.
Someone's going to send in and be like, no, that's the best kind. But
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that happened. I will say though, I in my mind, I'm like, it's still a decent deal for a good bed and a shower and Wi-Fi, and so I chalked it up to that.
You can't, when you're in the middle of an emergency, you can't really complain.
No, that's true. Now I do have bed bug bites. I'm just kidding. I don't, that I know of. But yeah, it was an interesting experience though. Yeah. So the shower in one of those campers is more like a phone booth.
Yeah.
Like both shoulders were touching each side of it, but
yeah,
they did have hot water.
It was a shower.
It was a shower, and it was hot water. So
yeah.
Anyway, yeah. All right, should we take a break?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we'll be back. 208-542-1079. All right, I got to do a Clayton Homes. Did you say I have 2?
No. You have 5 total, so you just need to do them whenever. One, and the buy started today.
Okay.
I was telling Neal that on my crime podcast, I covered a story out of Canada. In this story, it was, we call them Native Americans here. What do they call them in Canada? They have a different name.
First Nation.
First Nation, yes. Yeah. So it was a female member of the First Nation, and she'd been killed, and they knew she had been killed. She wasn't just missing. There had been enough rumor spreading throughout the city that people had seen the dead body, but the dead body was no longer where it was supposed to be. They were pretty positive it was in a landfill. There is so much government regulation in Canada. They would not allow the detectives or the forensic specialists to search the landfill because it was going to be too dangerous. So they commissioned a government grant, built a building, and then moved piles of garbage into the building for people to sift through, scoop it back up, take it back out, move pile. It took 1.5 years before they searched the landfill.
Wow.
Because they had to get the money, build the building, hire the people. They had to have people studying the whole thing. There were government employees who watched every bit of it to prove that it went the way it was supposed to go.
Wow.
It was, the red tape was phenomenal in Canada.
So a couple of things. I stopped at, it was in that area where the missing girl was, that Wikipedia link I sent you.
Mm-hmm.
And I stopped at a McDonald's, and nothing was plastic. They had I needed a spoon. It was wooden. The straw was paper. And I know they're terrible. They're terrible.
Both of those in your mouth, a wooden spoon, no good.
You would have hated it. Because, it was the same stuff that, now it had a curve to it, so it was like a spoon, but it was the same stuff as like the little ice cream.
The little cup of ice cream.
Popsicle stick type thing. So. And then they had, I did get a hot fudge sundae. It was in a little paper cup. It wasn't in the plastic stuff that they do. So I think they do have those regulations. At a Walmart in Prince George, I'm going through and I bought a few items. My gift for my sons and son-in-law is ketchup Pringles. So I thought they can try that. They'll like that. And so I had like 3 or 4 cans of Pringles and a few other things. They don't have plastic bags there. They're like, would you like a bag? And I'm like, sure, not knowing. And so he pulls one of those blue recycling, cloth bags. I'm like, well, I have a tote in the car. I don't need that. I don't want one other thing. So I said, I'll just carry my stuff out. There wasn't so much that I couldn't. And I still had my card anyway. So I just carried it out. So I guess going back to the caller, what was weird is you can tell there are tons of environmental regulations up there. One other thing that was weird, and I don't know if this is a Canada thing or a British Columbia thing. I was shocked at how many people smoke. And I'm talking cigarettes, not weed. Every rest area that I would stop at, nearly everyone was smoking when they would stop. It's huge there.
Wow, that is a little crazy.
Yeah.
I think we're on the cusp of seeing a generation of that come forward, except it's vaping. I don't know how, though, this generation that's moving into adulthood. So I'm talking like 15-year-olds to 25-year-olds.
Yeah.
They vape nonstop.
Yeah.
It's as addictive as cigarettes.
Yeah.
G with the double F, Jeff says, I miss styrofoam cups. I was thinking about McDonald's the other day and the styrofoam clamshell that you used to get your Big Mac in or whatever.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, if we went to McDonald's, I always opened it up and put my fries in one side and my hamburger was in the other. It was like your own little plate. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah.
That's gone. Okay, Domingo just stretched over there. I caught it out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah.
I want you to think about the amount of times that you've seen Domingo's bare arms. He never wears a T-shirt, and he has a T-shirt on today. He always has a button down on.
That's true. We'll have to ask him about that.
Well, you feeling a little saucy today, Domingo?
Simone Biles. Sorry, I saw it up on the TV.
I was thinking one thing we haven't talked about is this. Trump announced yesterday he's given that $1,000.
Oh, yeah.
To anybody having a kid? We could talk about that.
I don't know what I think about that.
I feel a little weird about it also. I do know we're in a population drought.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's factoring in. He's trying to encourage people to have babies.
Yeah.
I don't think you should have babies to get money, though.
Yeah, well, I would agree. I will say this, though, because you do wonder, when can they first access that money?
I'll have to look it up. Let me pull the article. Or an article.
Oh, I'll be right back. I got to get my...
We're going to be very, very willing to look at the other side. I pulled the CNN article. Now, get off. Okay. January 1st, 2025 through December 31st of 2028. So that's the time frame. They'll take $1,000 and they'll put it into an individual account for the baby. To be eligible, the baby must be U.S. born.
9:47 on News Talk 1079. Neil Larson, along with Julie Mason. You can save up to $5,000 instantly on your home purchase at Clayton Homes Sign and Save event. It's going on this summer. By the way, save up to $2,500 on a single section home or $5,000 on a multi-section home. And just so you know, Clayton Homes is changing the way that homes are built, making them affordable to buy, but that's not the only way you're going to save money. They make them cost less to live in. They use state-of-the-art facilities that help protect your new home from the elements during construction. And they add premium features that turn your house into your dream home. They use thick insulation and tight construction designed to help keep you comfortable and to help you save money so you can get the luxury, quality, and the style that you want in a beautiful, affordable home with energy-efficient features to fit your budget. Clayton Homes is ready to help you find your dream home. They're here to help answer all your questions from floor plans to design features. Now, terms and conditions for the Sign and Save Sales event can be found at manufacturedhomeoffers.com. Available only at participating Clayton Homes family of brands retailers through August 31st. Amount of savings may be limited. Ask for details. May not be available with certain financing. Lender restrictions apply. So visit the local Clayton Homes near you or browse their limited time deals at manufacturedhomeoffers.com to learn more. Okay, Julie, let's talk about this $1,000 Trump deal that he was talking about.
Okay, so I just looked it up. It's a 5-year pilot program.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's a 5-year pilot program. It's part of the big, beautiful bill. So it's in the House-passed budget bill. So when we talk about this, it's not completely in stone yet because it depends on what the Senate does with it. Yep. Here's the details of the program. The Trump accounts that were initially called Money Account for Growth and Advancement, which stands for MAGA. Very, very cute and on brand there.
Yeah.
The federal government will put $1,000 into individual accounts for babies born between January 1st, 2025 and December 31st, 2028. So if you're having a baby this year or have already had a baby in 2025, it would qualify for this. To be eligible, the baby must be born in the U.S., so it must be a U.S.-born citizen, and both the parents and the baby have to have Social Security numbers. So they're clearly removing those. We've talked about them, the women who get shipped over here about 3 weeks before they have a baby. They go into a house somewhere in California with 25 other women. They birth their babies, and then those babies receive U.S. citizenship. Those babies wouldn't qualify because the mom does not have U.S. citizenship. Okay. So the family and others may make annual contributions to the account, so the $1,000 that's in there, as long as they don't exceed $5,000 a year. So you could add up to another $4,000 each year, or $5,000 after the initial year, I should say. The money must be invested in a low-cost, diversified U.S. stock index fund or equivalent, and no withdrawals may be made until the child turns 18. Taxes are deferred on growth until the money is withdrawn. So you're not taxed those whole 18 years. You can build up this massive savings account. You don't have to withdraw it when you're 18. You can slowly start making withdrawals, like maybe for a college account or something like that. You will have to pay taxes on the money that you take out.
So here's a question that I have. And let me just play the audio of Trump announcing this.
Here's how the accounts work. For every U.S. citizen born after December 31st, 2024, before January 1st, 2029, the federal government will make a one-time contribution of $1,000 into a tax-deferred account that will track the overall stock market.
Okay, so basically what you said. Just wanted to hear Trump saying that. Part of me, there is sort of that libertarian streak in me that not a big fan of of that based on that. However, does it help solve a problem? And it might. Here's my question, though, and it's a what if question, because we are talking about saving Social Security because we know that long term it's not solvent, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What if we allowed a refundable tax credit for 401k or other IRA investments? Additionally, that would be equivalent to your Social Security deposit. And then it would be an off-ramp from Social Security. Now, George W. Bush, he floated this 25 plus years, well, it was less than 25 years ago, but during his administration. And it was just a minor fraction of what you put into Social Security, like maybe 10%. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it was just a small, tiny piece of the pie of what you put in Social Security. And of course, the left did what they always do, which is lie and not tell the truth about it. But it was this attempt to say, well, maybe we can off-ramp the pressure on Social Security by allowing people to invest in different things, and you would have to require that they can't take their money out. That would be a requirement here, because over long term, the market outperforms what Social Security can do for you by multiples. Mm-hmm. If you took all the money, Julie, that you've put in Social Security and you put it into a modest but safe 401k, the returns on that would be far, far greater than what you'll ever get back from Social Security. And so I think we have to start looking at maybe some of these private sector options as an off-ramp from Social Security if we want to achieve the same thing, which is some level of financial help or security when people get into older age.
Yeah. When you're talking about Social Security, it's going to be, I mean, if the baby is born this year.
Yeah, no, that's 65 years. It's too far. Yeah, that's true. That doesn't address this problem.
It doesn't. Yeah. So I actually look at this and think that what Trump is trying to do is to get firmly entrenched Americans to start having more kids.
Yeah.
I think it's a dangling of a carrot. We're going to help you get started. Add each year to it, and your kid's going to have this amazing account when they turn 18.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not perfect, not even close to being perfect. I don't know. I don't know if we're not very good at keeping our attention in America.
Yeah.
And you're asking to solve some problems here that are going to take decades.
Yeah.
We're really not built for that right now. We can't even pay attention.
Well,
I mean, we destroyed Kavanaugh and forgot all about it days later.
And Julie, it's decades, even without any political roadblocks. It's decades,
Yeah.
but they're slowing it down. All right,
Yeah.
I've got a break. It's 9:55. We'll be back. Oh, sorry. I looked up at the clock and I'm like, oh,
We should probably stop talking.
I'm gonna move. We'll do this. Do you have a Timberline later this week?
I wouldn't think so.
Okay.
It's the 10th.
Okay. I just want to make sure we didn't need to do one today. So. Are we good, or do we need to do one more town?
Well, we've done 2 today. Somewhere throughout this week, we've got to make up 2. So we don't have to today. Don't screw everything up.
Okay. Someone said, wouldn't you rather give him the fee than Visa getting the fee? No, because it probably would have been about $25 less if he would have taken a card.
Mm-hmm. Is anybody else getting really weary of using a card in your places? I have this underlying fear all the time that my information is getting stolen. I try to use cash at less desirable locations.
Yeah. So if I could have paid with a credit card, it would have only cost me $73 to stay.
On Fox News this morning, they have a tech dude. He comes on a couple of times a week.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to plug directly into the USB ports in airports. There's readers in there, and they can access the information on your phone.
No.
Yeah. So if you're going to charge your phone in an airport, you have to use a plug.
Yeah.
Like actual electricity. That's how you can stop them. If you plug directly into the USB ports that are provided, you might have a chance at losing the information on your phone.
They're actually reading it?
Mm-hmm.
It's not just powered.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm getting when I say weary, I just probably smeared my lipstick everywhere. I'm just nervous that my information is being used all of the time. Lucky me, I have a lot of cash, just simply because my clients pay me in cash. So it's easy for me to pay for things in cash. I know that's not how most people exist.
Yeah. All right, 9:58. That's going to do it for the show today. We do want to remind you on your calendar, Friday, 11 to 1, we're holding an open house to mark 5 years of News Talk 107.9. We launched in June of 2020. We hope we'll see you then, and we'll be back tomorrow. See you then.